Please help me in welcoming Maritza. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for inviting me. This is a real honor to be up here. We can just go ahead and get started. So today I'm going to talk about the shit people don't tell you. And everything looks really good in cursive. It's just like how bad words sound better in Spanish. Some things look better in cursive. So today I'm here to just talk about the shit people don't tell you. When I was on my journey, and I'm still on my journey right now, I always ask people one question. What's the one thing someone didn't tell you that they wish they would? And I'll ask men, women, mothers, widowers, young, old, even like little people. I'll be like, what do you wish someone would have told you about that? To not slip, you know, you're like, oh, okay, go sit down somewhere. You can go to the next one. Ambition is a beautiful thing. And all of you sitting here today probably know that. I'm sure each of you are an ambitious woman. That's why you're sitting here. That's why you're going to college. You have some sort of goal, some sort of reason that you're moving towards. I think we all kind of have that fire inside, and I'm sure each one of you do somewhere inside of you. Those moments and sparks of ambition come usually before finals when you're rushing to get something done is when you feel that like really ambitious fire. But you know, most of the time there's this set goal, whether it's I'm going to start and finish college, I'm going to go after this dream job, I'm going to get this career that I've always wanted or pursue a dream that I've always wanted. We can go to the next slide. So I know a little bit about ambition because I'm very ambitious. And that came with a lot of, I would say, fear. Because every moment I was turning, things were happening that I wasn't expecting. Where I was used to things kind of just rolling and doing really good and life being sort of easy. But I decided, no, I want to take on all of these other challenges. And it came kind of with this hysterical energy of being pregnant. And does anyone here have children yet? Don't have them. Don't tell you. I'll tell you that. Don't have them. They're a blessing. God bless every one of my sons here, but wait. But it was one of those things where, you know, that year when people looked in the media, when they would message me, they would say, oh my God, I can't believe everything you're doing. This is so great. This is so awesome. And it was great and it was awesome, but there was many moments last year where I was sitting in the shower hysterically crying. And just not knowing where that energy would come up again, or what was I thinking starting this new business? What was I thinking having a third baby? What was I, you know, all of these what's. So with ambition comes huge sacrifice. And we hear it here and there, but most of the time we keep our eye on the prize and know that we're going to get to this goal. But one of the things I learned was with all of this great energy I had, all of these great ideas that I was fueling, all of these great people around me, there was a huge sacrifice in my life that I was taking. Both emotionally, physically, mentally. I really beat myself up. So it was one of those life lessons that if I could tell anybody, you know, to stop, it was like, well, what were you thinking trying to take on so much? Ambition's always used in such a positive way, and we're always, you know, thinking of the next sort of thing we want to do. But with that came huge sacrifice, and you know, I learned that it wasn't until the end of the year where we finally, after 3 years of building our business, of building our family, decided to finally take a vacation. We left to Maui, and I sat on the beach, and I was looking out at the sunset by myself, and Rashawn had taken the kids, so I could hear them all running, and there's just people around me, and it was like our last night there. And the sun was setting, and at that moment, it just, this like overwhelming emotion came out where it's just like, it's like waterworks, you know, again, I'm just like, okay, this is the last time I'm gonna cry about this, and now I have to go back home and put my big girl underwear on again, and, you know, get things going and really refocus on myself. So it was one of those things that no one had ever told me, like, things are gonna be really great and they're gonna look really great. But you also have to remember that with those things comes a little bit of a sacrifice. So one of those things is you're going to fail. And you'll hear that a lot. It's like, you're going to fail and don't worry, get up. You know, you've got this. You're going to try to go out for a job in your favorite position and you might not get it that first time around. You're going to go and you're going to move somewhere because you've always wanted to live in LA and do this big dream. but then you're going to realize, whoa, that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Or you're going to be in a relationship and you're going to love someone so hard that you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, nothing else in this world could, ever change this, and then that relationship is going to crumble somewhere. So people are always going to tell you this, you're going to fail, right? And we all kind of know that. We've failed somewhere in our lives, whether it's personally or in education or at work, or you got fired because you were late, or your car broke down and because you failed to put gas in it. I don't know who that happens to, but some people, do. I like to ride on the edge of life. Someone's like, Eve, 2 miles. You're laughing. I always text my dad and Rashawn. I'm like, I always go, I ran out of gas. And he ignores me, and my dad's like, I'm calling my AAA. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. He's all, daddy's girl, daddy's girl. Next slide. So this is the shit people don't tell you, is that growth comes from failure. Every failure that I've had in my life, I've gotten to grow from it. And those are both on a personal level, to things like I was telling you about last year, to even on a business level. There were times in our business where we were growing, things were going really great, but we failed to do something, and the next thing you know, a client is suing you. And the type of feeling that comes with that when you know your family and your business and your employees are on the line is probably one of the worst feelings, when you know you've done something right, but these people just can't seem to see it. But from that, it always strengthens what you're doing. So what I always tell people is, people don't tell you that growth comes with failure. You're going to grow from every experience that you have, no matter what that is. And it's sometimes those messages, like last year, no one could have told me people were telling me, you're doing too much, you're doing too much, you're doing too much, you're doing too much. I didn't want to hear it. I'm like, I can't hear you, But from that, it was growth comes from failure. And that was something that's really, really powerful that I always hope people to walk away with. So, question. How much people want to be entrepreneurs? Anyone here an entrepreneur? You kind of are. Oh, got it. Okay. Well, you either got to be it or you're not it. So here's the myth. When you become an entrepreneur, you're free to make your own decisions and your own schedule. And I always like to throw this one in there. So I became an entrepreneur at the age of 23. But some would say I even became an entrepreneur before that, because I was working in a family business. And so my family was first and second generation Mexicans. My grandfather had come over here from Mexico, and he decided to start his own business. And it was really motivating to see, because with this gentleman and him and my grandmother, who didn't speak any English, who did not understand a country that they were in, they came and started their own business. And he was able to put 8 children, and I don't know how my grandmother did it, God bless her, 8 children through private school, and fed them and clothed them and did all these great things. But one of the funny things was, I probably should have learned from that somewhere along the lines, is that we worked as a family all the time. So when we would go on the weekdays, we'd go to the flea market, and that's where they would sell some of the Mexican products they had. And I would man my own little candy stand, and that's how I would make my little money to buy whatever I wanted, wherever I wanted to go. And so as an entrepreneur, later when I became a young entrepreneur, I thought, I'm going to do this because, oh man, I am going to make my own schedule. I'm going to have my own free time. I'm going to go to the gym when I want to go to the gym. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. That's myth. However, there are so many great things about it at the same time. You do get to become really, really, really involved in things that you're passionate about. Not that you can't as your own career, but it's kind of something like your own baby that you started. It's always an interesting journey as an entrepreneur, because you're basically jumping out of an airplane with no parachute. There's no net underneath you, and there's no little parachute to catch you as you fall. So it's always interesting when people meet, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and I'm going to have this really cool lifestyle, and I'm going to be able to make my own schedule and do all these things, and I'm like, okay. Oh, well, you don't know. I'm like, this is shit people don't tell you. You're not going to do that, especially not the first couple of years. You're going to work like this. Children on your lap, day in and day out. When I get home, this is usually what it looked like for the first several years. I was on my computer, on my phone, on my tablet, trying to make deals, trying to make things work, trying to figure out what the next step in our business was going to be, or operationally, how am I going to make our employee culture even better? How are we going to make the next move when I'm planning these gigantic events? What insurance we're going to, so there, I mean, it's just like never ending. But it's one of the best feelings that you can have also. So good luck. I want to hear each of your stories later. You can go to the next one. Slow the fuck down. I'm dead serious. Right now, I'm sure all of you feel it. Who's a senior this year? Okay. So you're feeling it right now, right? You're feeling that kind of like angst that I can't wait to get out of college. I don't want to write another paper. I don't want to read another book. I'm going to go and get this career that I've always wanted, and I'm going to like run and go and go and go, right? Do you kind of have that feeling? Just a little bit? Yeah. I don't want to have to battle parking and all that stuff. Except you're getting a new lot soon.
Excuse me, sorry.
This is shit people don't tell you. It's to slow the fuck down. This is the only time in your life that you will have that skin, have that great hair, have that peace of mind, have this freedom in your life right now. Does anyone have children yet? You all are free. This is the only time in your life you will have that. And as a woman to woman, I always tell all of my, I have a lot of, we've had a lot of interns over the years. And you know, as soon as they graduate, they're seniors, they're coming in, they're really excited, they're going balls to the wall, they want to work the same hours as I do, they want to be there, hands-on, they want to see, they want to know, they want to get in there. And I'm like, go home. Get out of here. I don't want to see you in this office. Slow down. The time will come. It feels like a race. Like the next person is going to have the career you want. The next person is going to have that next big position you want. This person is going to have, you know, this car before you do, or be able to move here before you do. I've had my career for now over 12, 15 years, right? And one of the things I wish someone would have told me was to slow the fuck down. I was on this like road to the fast way, fast track, fast, get it all done, get it all done, get it all done. But this is the only time in your lives as women that you get to have the sort of freedom that you do now. Whether it's later when you do get that one position that you really, really wanted in your career, and then you're literally there all the time in your office, or you're working, or you're focusing on something else, or if you're an entrepreneur, you're there trying to every single day build your business. Or if you become a mother, then you become that person that someone's going to rely on, or you become a wife, and that, you know, the people that are around you rely on you too. And you kind of get to feel it like every day, you know, as women we want to nurture and we're there for people all around us. But what I always tell people is slow down. The race, it isn't one. There's not one. It's like there's, you know, I always like, I'm going to race to that end goal, and when I get there, it's going to be so great and so wonderful, but it just, you don't get there. It's always going to be something next that you want to accomplish. So if I could tell you something now that a lot of people won't tell you to do, they're going to tell you to hurry up, get out, get a job, get this, get that, slow down. Slow down. Pump your brakes. Don't fall into the trap. This is my tip. So people will all ask you, and you'll hear it probably a lot in interviews over now, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Has anybody heard that before? Yeah. So I would always kind of fall into that trap. Oh, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? 5 years from now, I see myself living in a loft, and I'm going to be doing this. Not even close. Like that just, you know, you don't really know that, right? This is the one. Envision the person you want to become. So don't envision yourself in 5 years. Envision who you want to become as a whole. Sit down and write it down. who do you want to become? So one time I read this book and then I watched a movie. It was like an inspirational, motivational thing. And I roll my eyes because I'm like totally not into all that stuff. I'm like, oh God, here's another person. But it really resonated with me because it was something that said, envision who you are at the end. Who is that person that you want to be, and how can you obtain that goal? Don't look at 5 years from now. It's that big person you see yourself, and I think everyone can close their eyes and see that woman that you want to become. Whether it's an example of someone that you've known in your life, like to me, I always think of God, I want to be like my grandma in some ways. She was so patient to have 8 children, and I cannot find that patience in my life for like 2 seconds. I'm so impatient, so how did she get there? But when I really listened to that, I envisioned the woman I wanted to be, and then I took it, and I went to a magazine, and I started cutting out words, I started cutting out pieces of who that was that I was going to create and become. And that was a really strong moment, versus when people would ask me 5 years from now, and I would look at them and go, 5 years from now, well, I have a larger vision than just 5 years from now. They freak out, especially if it's a man, they're like, but don't let that scare you. So that's the biggest tip. Don't fall into the trap of just thinking years into small, but think larger, think bigger, think of something. This world has endless possibilities, and this is the biggest one that I always want to share with women, is envision the person that you want to become. So nurturing yourself is really important, and this is one of those big things that I would say. One, I tell all my female, not so much the males, the females, live by yourself for at least 1 year. No roommate, no sisters or brothers, no cousins or uncles, no anything. Challenge yourself to do that. You will find a tremendous amount of power in that 1 year. It's, for me, that was really hard. I came from a very large family. I can't even sleep without noise on. It's just like awkward and weird to me, right? So when I chose to live by myself for 1 year, I decided this was going to be my challenge to myself. Nurture yourself. Go to the movies by yourself. And it's really interesting because oftentimes, you know, it's always kind of like, oh, I'm not going to go and do these things by myself. Like, that would look weird. I'm just going to, like, sit there. I remember the first time I went to the movies by myself, I was, like, looking around. I'm like, oh, my God, everyone's staring at me. Everyone's staring at me. And they weren't. You know, they could care less. They're just, like, in their moment. Same thing when I, like, it's easy to go to a coffee shop by yourself, but when you go and, like, eat dinner by yourself, that's a whole other beast. It's a whole other beast. But I put that under the category of nurturing yourself and building that confidence within your own self to feel comfortable in your own skin, feel comfortable with your own time, and kind of like say F you to everybody else. I don't need to be in the same box. I don't need to go and sit with someone else to enjoy time. Like, I could sit here and I'll just squirrel on my phone if I want to. I will have a whole bottle of wine and take an Uber home if I want to. You know, it's those kind of moments that are really empowering as women in what I say. You know, most people will say, oh, no, she just have to get a massage, you know, go get a pedicure. No, you have to dig a little bit deeper into those moments of nurturing yourself. You can get anything you want. And I say, well, almost anything, because you don't always want to get everything you want. But as women, we have this really unique place that I think a lot of us don't always really understand the power that we have. I always say women would be the best bank robbers because no one sees us coming, you know, and they get so distracted. It's a joke, but it's kind of serious. But you can. Don't be a bank robber. So, I mean, don't get anything you want by robbing a bank. But you can get anything you want. You know, I think this year, politically, we saw the fact that, yeah, maybe a woman didn't get that presidential seat. But that's okay. Those types of things are possible. In each of you, there's something inside that you can get anything you want. People will tell you, no, you can't do that, more than you will hear, yes, you can. Even the people closest to you. If I could count the times that people closest to me, when I would say, I'm going to leave my job, and I'm going to do this really great job that I had, and I'm going to go and do something by myself, they told me, no, you're going to fail, you're not going to be able to do it, you're not going to be able to do it. Even now, when I tell my team, we are going to do this, and they're like, no, we can't do that. See, this is why. I'm like, okay, That's fine. I'm going over here because I'm going to go get what I want. You're either coming or you're not. It's not to say that I'm always optimistic about things. Maybe sometimes like, no, we can't do that right now. And I'm always thinking about numbers, you know, and like, the budget says that we're only, you know, whatever. But you can get anything you want. And I hope each of you, you know, as you continue to pursue your careers outside of here can realize that you have a unique gift that not everybody has. You know, whether you're an accountant and you can calculate numbers, that's amazing. Or if you're going to be a nurse and you're going to help save people's lives, incredible. Each of those things have a tremendous amount of value. And if you believe in it, you can get it. Shit, people don't tell you mermaids really exist. They really do. But that's each one of us. You know, the depths of what I love marine life. So I always refer to into marine life. The depths of which animals in the sea can go, and really the different variations of it and all of the challenges that come with that is something that each of us have as women. There are going to be challenges. There's going to be these mermaid moments where people are like, you can't do that. That fantasy you have in your life of this existing, you being that woman that you see yourself being, you making that goal that you want to make, people will always want to push you down. I mean, I would probably be bruised up and down. I would tell people, I'm going to go do this. You can't do that. Boom. I had after my my first son, I had a man tell me that I wasn't going to be able to make it in my career because now I had children. And you're not going to be able to be a successful one because you're too distracted. After I cussed him out, I left and I decided I wasn't going to work there again. Because that was one of those moments of someone kind of just pushing it down and pushing me down and saying, yeah, no, sorry, that's not going to happen. So I always say mermaids exist. And it's that fantasy, right, that we have of like these half woman or man, half mer person kind of coming, you know, out with red hair and singing, and but it, you know, in a silly, and I'm usually not like that. I do love the Little Mermaid. I mean, I will say that she left a role. But it is one of those things inside of each one of us that I always kind of use that as like a funny way to really bring it all back around, is that in these things that people will tell you can't do, or you won't be able to do, or there's a barrier here, or, you know, even now your family's not from here, so you're not going to be able to do that. Or you're too young, you're not going to be able to do that. Or you're too this, you're not, you know, those are all things that you just have to do away with and kind of remember yourself sitting in that movie theater eating popcorn with, yeah, I can do it. I got this. And that's it. So this is your journey. Each one of you will have one. Probably starts very soon when you graduate. There's going to be kind of like this new chapter, and I always think that's when I feel like it's a new chapter. Honestly, I remember after graduating, I laid in my bed for probably a week, kind of depressed because it was a little bit weird. My journey, I felt like that was the goal I wanted. What am I supposed to do next? You know, where am I going? What's happening here? So I laid in my bed, I think for a week straight. Do you remember? Yeah, I think I was just in there. I was eating junk, and I'm like, this sucks. Like, I thought I was gonna love. It felt like, you know, that cloud of like college, the college cloud where you're like, all these things are due. You know, it's always like over you. You're like, like I know. Enjoy it. Enjoy these moments, and you know, today, like when I think of my journey, today started really, really early, and I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get this presentation done. I'm like, I'm gonna have to call and cancel because I have so much to do. But there's moments, you know, freak out like, oh gosh, I'm not gonna be able to get there in time, and I have this, and I may have overcommitted. But it's just, then I stop and think like, this is part of my journey. This is who I am. This is what it's all about. So I want to thank each one of you. I look forward to hearing about your journeys if you want to share them.
Thanks again.
Thank you.